in a rundown apartment in New York City. With just $106 to his name and a newborn son at home, a struggling actor sat at a second-hand typewriter and wrote a screenplay about a washed-up boxer who gets one last shot at glory. He hadn't eaten properly in days. His wife was selling her jewelry to pay the rent. Rejection letters piled up like firewood. But he kept typing, not for fame, but for survival. That man was Sylvester Stallone, and the script he refused to sell became Rocky, a film that would win 3 Academy Awards, launch a billion-dollar franchise, and redefine what it means to be an underdog in American culture. Born on July 6, 1946, in Hell's Kitchen, Manhattan, Sylvester Ardenzio Stallone entered the world under traumatic circumstances. A difficult birth involving forceps left him with partial facial paralysis, a slurred speech, and a lifetime of being underestimated. His parents divorced when he was young. His mother, a dancer and astrologer, moved the family frequently between New York and Washington, D.C., often relying on welfare. Bullied for his appearance and voice, young Sly found refuge in movies, especially tales of heroes who rose from nothing. He devoured biographies of fighters, studied Marlon Brando's intensity, and dreamed of becoming an actor, despite teachers telling him he'd never succeed with his speech impediment. He enrolled at the University of Miami on a football scholarship, but switched to drama after an injury. After graduation, he moved back to New York with grand ambitions and zero connections. For years, he took odd jobs, cleaning lion cages at a zoo, working as a theater usher, even appearing in adult films under pseudonyms, all while auditioning relentlessly. He was turned down for hundreds of roles, often told he was too rough, too ethnic, or not leading man material. Yet he kept writing, training, and believing. His breakthrough came not from acting, but from writing. On March 24, 1975, he watched the real-life boxing match between Muhammad Ali and Chuck Wepner, a journeyman fighter who lasted 15 rounds against the champion. Inspired by Wepner's grit, Stallone wrote Rocky in just 3.5 days. Studios loved the script but demanded he sell it, and let a known star play the lead. He refused. He believed only he could embody Rocky's vulnerability and hunger. Broke and desperate, he nearly sold his dog to make ends meet, then changed his mind at the last minute, walking the dog back home in tears. That moment of defiance became legend. When producers finally agreed to let him star, they gave him a tiny budget, 28 days to shoot, and no expectations. But Stallone poured everything into it, performing his own stunts, running through Philadelphia streets before dawn, and channeling every rejection into Rocky's quiet determination. Released in 1976, Rocky became a cultural phenomenon. It won Best Picture, Best Director, and catapulted Stallone to global stardom, not as a polished hero, but as a flawed, human underdog who earned respect through effort, not victory. Yet success didn't shield him from struggle. The 1980s brought massive hits like Rocky Roman II, Roman IV, and the birth of Rambo, but also criticism that his films glorified violence or jingoism. Behind the scenes, he battled studio interference, personal debt, and the pressure to repeat past triumphs. He divorced twice, faced financial ruin after risky investments, and watched as Hollywood shifted toward slicker, less physical stars. By the late 1990s, his career had stalled. He was seen as a relic of the 80s, loud, muscular, out of step with ironic, self-aware cinema. But Stallone never stopped fighting. In 2006, he quietly wrote Rocky Balboa, a reflective epilogue about aging, loss, and dignity. Made on a modest budget, it surprised critics with its emotional depth and reminded audiences why they loved the character in the first place. Then, in 2010, he conceived The Expendables, a self-aware ensemble action film featuring aging action legends like Bruce Willis, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and Jet Li. It wasn't just nostalgia, it was a statement: these men still mattered. His greatest comeback came in 2015 with Creed. Instead of clinging to the spotlight, he stepped aside, handing the torch to Michael B. Jordan while playing and aging, grieving Rocky as a mentor. His performance earned universal acclaim, an Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actor, and a standing ovation at the Academy Awards. At 69, he proved that vulnerability could be more powerful than biceps. Beyond film, Stallone built a legacy of resilience. He trained obsessively, not for vanity, but discipline, turning his body into a symbol of willpower. He painted, wrote poetry, and collected fine art, revealing a sensitive intellect beneath a tough exterior. He reconciled with his father before his death, and rebuilt relationships with his 5 children, often calling family his truest achievement. He also gave back quietly. He supported veterans' charities, funded youth boxing programs in underserved neighborhoods, and advocated for actors' rights in Hollywood negotiations. He never forgot what it felt like to be invisible. Today, in his late 70s, Stallone continues to act, write, and produce. He's developing new Rocky and Rambo stories, mentoring young filmmakers, and embracing his role as elder statesman of action cinema. His face is lined, his steps slower, but his spirit remains unbroken. Sylvester Stallone's story isn't just about muscles or movie franchises. It's about the courage to believe in yourself when no one else does. It's about turning pain into purpose, rejection into resolve, and failure into fuel. He didn't just create Rocky, he lived him. And in doing so, he gave millions of people around the world a simple, enduring truth. It's not about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done.